All right, guys, this is Ganesh, the founder of Southwards IELTS Private Limited, and I'm here with one more success story. And today we have Harleen Kaur from Punjab, and she got amazing bands in her IELTS test, and I'm going to wish her all the very best for her PR. So now, guys, let's listen from Harleen itself. But before we start, let me just tell you her scores. She got 9 in listening. That's amazing and that's wonderful. Trust me, guys, when I was training her, in fact, even she did not believe that she could get 9 in listening. She was always getting 8.58, but I'm glad that she could get 9, and she got 7.5 in reading. That's amazing. She got 7 in writing. That's a very good score. 7 in writing, that's a dream for many. And she got 7.5 in speaking. So that is her scores, 8,777, and she got more than that. So, Harleen, how does it feel to finally get the scores that you wanted?
It is much of a relief, I would say.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
quite relieved with it.
So now we'll go more into specific now. Listening 9. So, Harleen, what was the magic that you did so that you got 9 in
I don't believe there was any magic. It was, of course, the guidance by you.
listening?
I would really thank you for that. And other than that, it was only the test from Cambridge books.
Hmm.
I didn't go for anything else other than those tests.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
And yes,
because
one another thing, I familiarized myself with different accents, I would say.
mm, okay.
So I was quite comfortable when I was actually giving the real test there.
Okay. Yep. I told, and in fact, I still tell my candidates that only practice from Cambridge books. So you stick to that. Now, as you said that you got used to various different accents. So from where did you hear these accents? Which channel
First of
or?
all, if we just scrutinize the Cambridge test
Mhm.
into the depth, we get different accents right from there itself. And
Okay.
other than that, if someone wants to get familiarized with those accents, they can obviously go for different podcasts or videos. There are ample of them over the internet, so one can practice from there.
Okay. So, Harleen, do you agree with me that if you listen to different accents, if you listen to native speakers speaking, their interviews, not the movies and the songs, but their interviews, I think that really helps your listening skills to get developed and you can get the bands.
Yes, definitely they help us to improve because obviously when you have already heard a particular accent prior to your test, you kind of get a confidence there itself that yes, I have heard this accent, I know how these people are going to pronounce certain words, I can do it. So definitely a boost in the confidence is there.
Okay, perfect. I advise my candidates that listen to native speakers interviews. That's going to help you rather than just doing IELTS listening. Okay, so that was about listening. Now let's talk about writing then, because writing is a trouble for many people. Harleen, you know it, right? So yes, you got trained under me for writing. I taught you in detail on task 1 and task 2. Then I also gave you personal feedbacks on your writing. But I want to know, how did those feedback work? So what you could take it from those feedback?
First of all, I followed those tips that you gave us, those patterns, those techniques. I followed them religiously, to be
Okay.
honest.
All right.
Other than that, the feedbacks you gave, I had certain problems in the central ideas of the paragraphs or some problems of that sort. So I broke those paragraphs. I broke my complete essay into smaller paragraphs. After you gave me my feedbacks, I started with going for only single paragraphs. That
Okay.
I want to write about a topic, I would only go for a single paragraph so that I could just work on those areas which are problematic for me. So I think they are obviously a great help. Those feedbacks are much needed.
Yeah, because if you have training, okay, if you are trained, but there is no one to give you feedback, then you cannot improve. Okay. So I really liked your style that focus on one paragraph at a point of time, because essay is like building a block. Okay, it's
Yeah.
like building a building. In fact, okay, you build floor by floor. So essay is like building a paragraph by paragraph by paragraph. Rather than focusing on entire essay together while practicing, it is advisable to focus on one paragraph. Make sure it is perfect. Make sure it is error free. Make sure it is relevant. Good.
Yes.
Now for grammar, because I know many candidates. They struggle in writing because of grammar. Because if you make mistakes in grammar, it might also hamper your coherence and cohesion bands. So for grammar,
Definitely.
did you do something extra, or you were comfortable with the grammar since your school days?
No, I was pretty comfortable with it, but yes, I brushed over the complete grammar from some online exercises. There are ample of them.
Hmm.
Anyone who wants to practice, just take out a single topic. For example, you want to go for the prepositions, or want to go for the forms of tenses.
Hmm.
There are ample of exercises that you can just go and practice, and you'll be good if you are already comfortable with it
Yeah.
beforehand.
Okay, that means if you go through these videos, okay, maybe over YouTube or maybe over internet, you will get some advantage, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So these videos will help you to brush up your grammar levels. Okay, so now one more question about writing. How many essays and how many letters you have written? I know I gave you feedback on some essays and some letters, but in totality, how many essays and letters you have written? Because I believe that you would have practiced at least good number of essays and letters.
I really don't have the perfect count with me, but for each type of essay, I at least wrote three essays
Perfect.
because I got one checked from you, the second one I wrote for myself,
Hmm.
and the third one we again went for the feedbacks. So at
Okay.
least three were a minimum three, and anyone who wants to go for maximum number, it depends on the person.
Yes, so it is very important for candidates. If they want bands, they need to write more. The more you write, the more
Right.
better you become at IELTS writing. Okay, perfect. So that was about writing, Harleen. Now let's quickly talk about speaking. Speaking isn't an area where people have difficulty as they have in writing, but yes, speaking can be challenging for many people. So, how did you handle part two, where you have to speak on the topic for up to 2 minutes?
I think since I'm a keen reader, so I generally have a bit of knowledge about topics. I keep on reading them here and there. So, other than that, it's just your speaking skills, how you want to convey your idea to the examiner. Of course, they're not going to judge you that you're giving a dumb answer or you're on point, but they want you to stick to the topic. So, you
Yeah.
just need to convey your thing to them, and that's it. I just keep on reading things, so I'm able to convey them to the person.
Okay, all right. So, did you like the method? Did you like the strategy that I have shown in the course, that how to ensure that you speak on the topic for up to 2 minutes, no matter what?
Yes,
Because if you remember in the course, I told you it is not necessary that you should be talking only on bullet points. You can talk about many other things, but about the topic. So, did that work for you?
Yes, it definitely did because if you're going to talk about only the bullet points, you will not be able to, take it up to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're adding up more information that is from your own mind, or if you're actually talking about a real life experience, you have lot of things to talk about. So talking about the things other than those points, it definitely helps. It is a good strategy to go with.
Perfect. And last question for speaking. Did you record your practice while you were practicing for speaking, part one, part two,
I,
part three?
I in fact did the video recordings, not just the audio.
Oh, okay, okay.
Recordings.
Good, good. Because I tell my candidates that after I train them for speaking model, I tell them, look, go and pick Cambridge books. There are part one, part two, part three questions. Ask yourself those questions, give answer to yourself for those questions, but record your entire session and listen to it. If you listen, you will come to know the speed of your talking, okay, how fast, how slow you're speaking, and the mistakes you're making, and which part you're struggling with. But I think you went one step further and you did a video recording of that. So how do you look, right?
No, it's not about looking actually, to be honest. We these days we are having those video call tests, right?
Yes, yes.
When in the real test we have those video calling facilities. So it's
Mm,
better to train yourself in that way. So you obvious and of course you have the masks on, so it
yep.
has to be a thing there.
Yeah. No, that was on the lighter side when I said to
Yes,
speak.
definitely. Right.
Okay, so that was about speaking. Now let's talk about reading. Reading, you got 7.5. I'm damn sure you are more than 7.5, because when you were practicing for reading, I know that you were reporting your answers and they were like 37, 38 correct almost every time. Okay, but yes, you got the bands, but where do you think you made mistakes?
Well, to be honest, here also I went for only four wrong questions. That made my score to 7.5. I scored 36. That is the score you get for the 36 correct questions.
Okay.
So I was pretty much close to my practice test and the real test. It was pretty much close there. So the practice tests were enough for me, and I performed accordingly there.
Okay. So did you practice only from Cambridge books for reading?
Only from Cambridge books. I once did a mistake of going to a random online site to practice because I was going to appear for the computer-based test, so I wanted to do it over a laptop. So, but those sites, I don't find them to be really authentic. They have been giving me quite lesser scores,
Yes.
and being disheartened by that, I even came to you with that I'm getting a much lower score there.
I was about to say that then I scolded you also. Don't go to any other material. Just follow Cambridge books.
Stuck to these chemical books.
Yeah. So, did you read anything apart from just doing IELTS reading to improve your reading skills?
No, I just mentioned I am a keen reader, but in those particular days, I didn't read anything
Okay.
particularly for that purpose. But otherwise, I keep reading things, so that helped me there.
Good. So, you discussed about listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And any specific advice that you want to give to test takers out there? How they should approach the test so that they get their scores?
I won't talk about how to take the test, but yes, while preparing for the test, we have this very common approach that to learn new words to
Hmm.
improve our vocab. We go for
Hmm.
different words, but there we just tend to learn the meaning of those words. Nobody or very fewer people they go for utilizing that word. So I would say when you are trying to learn a new word, just try to incorporate that into a sentence. Just when you're looking for a meaning there, just also put how to use that word in a sentence. That would help you, because sometimes using a particular word in a sentence completely changes the meaning you are use or you have to use that in a different form. So I think to know how to use a word, that has to be one thing that we
Yeah.
need to keep in mind.
Yeah. Rather than memorizing words, it is better to know the meaning, and it is better to know how to use that in a sentence, because you don't use word in isolation. You use words in a sentence. So you should know how to use that word in a sentence depending upon past, present, and future. So what I could make out is that you were a intelligent candidate right from day one. So you already had some great skills. But yes,
Thank you.
with your hard work, you got the bands, and I'm
It's been
glad that
glad.
I could be a part of little help from my side. So, Harleen, I wish you all the very best for your PR, and whenever it happens, do let me know. And I want to thank you from my side, from my company, and also from test takers' point of view. That thank you for giving us this real wonderful information. I hope this information helps people like you to get their scores in first try. So, guys, she was Harleen, and she shared everything she did to get the scores. And I hope you're going to take some meaningful information out of this, and you're going to use that for your success. And if you did not subscribe till now, please click the subscribe button, and I'll be posting some lectures as well as some new success stories, which will give you inside information about the preparation of IELTS. So, Harleen, good night, and stay in touch. Let me know about your PR. All right.
Thank you so much. Good
Thank you,
night.
Harleen. Yeah.